Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Inspiration podcast. Today, I have such an amazing guest for you. I wanted to bring someone on who can inspire you. We're going through a really unique period of time in this world. So this person is not only going to inspire you with her story, but she's also going to give you some amazing tips for how you can navigate through this unique time that we're going through, both in your life and in your business. She is a Tony Robbins keynote speaker. She's a business strategist. Everyone, I would love to welcome Sandra Haseley. Sandra, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. How are you?
I'm good. You know I'm happy to be here. I'm stoked to be here. This is a great podcast. And thank you again for asking me to join. This feels like the right type of theme for the type of business that I'm in and the people that I speak to. So I love it.
Excellent. So I'd love for everyone just to learn a little bit more about you. You have a really amazing story, have overcome a lot of different barriers, but just give us a snapshot of you in a few words.
Ooh. Pressure. Okay, so I'm married to my business partner. That's not how I met him, but we happen to be in business together, run a health clinic in Buffalo. It's the highest rated weight loss center in the Buffalo area. I am a mother to 4 kids. I'm a former Division I athlete. I'm a Canadian-born American. I do coaching online. I've done offline for over 10 years. I used to be in commercial real estate, graduated with finance, and I hardly ever use it. And I work with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi on their Knowledge Broker Blueprint program. And that's a really beautiful program that I love helping to advocate and speak on behalf of, because it's been changing so many people's lives across the world. And so it's a really good fit for me as a coach, because it's just an extra tool in my tool belt to give to the people who it would make perfect sense for. And it's, there's travel involved for me. There's a lot of home management, a lot of time management, but I feel like I've struck a balance that feels really good and easy for me. And like this kind of work that you do, the kind of work that I do, like I just get energy from the people that I help. And I think that's why it sounds like a lot. I run several businesses. It sounds like a lot to have that many kids and to run that many businesses and to be traveling, but I really only work about 35 hours a week. And I just concentrate the heck out of it. I just get like, I condense down and I distill my stuff so that when I'm working, I'm really just working. And I feel like having that balance allows me to, go back into the family and just be in family mode and to really compartmentalize what I do throughout the day so that I don't burn out.
I have to say, you must have a scary focus to be able to run multiple businesses, be a mom, and a coach on the side, both for Tony Robbins and Dean, for yourself, working 35 hours. So when you're lasered in on something, there's probably it's just laser focus. You're just tuned in.
Yeah.
So this doesn't just happen overnight. You,
no.
I'm sure, have had one heck of a journey to get from where you were to kind of where you are now. And we spoke a little bit. What you've been through, what you've overcome, it's absolutely incredible. Tell me a little bit about your journey and how it is that you've made it to this, being an amazing coach, an amazing businesswoman. Give us the story.
We can take it back to college, Raf. Let's do it. Okay.
Let's do it.
So, all right, because I haven't shared this with people, I don't think publicly, but I think that it's relevant for what you're talking about. So, in terms of like the plan that I had for my life, I was going to be a naval pilot. I was going to go to the Naval Academy and I was going to fly fighter jets, and that was going to be my life, because that was the only target that I'd ever had, and it felt like so me. It just felt like me. Like to fly was everything. I couldn't wait to do it. And so I did get a congressional nomination to the Naval Academy, and I got in, and I was really pumped. But I'm Canadian, and my American citizenship did not come through in time for me to attend the academy as a plebe, a freshman. And so I had to scramble last minute. I ended up getting a scholarship for Division I softball, and I went to school to be an engineer, because I was thinking that'll piggyback really well into the aviation field. I'll have an engineer background for a year, then I'll pop back into the Naval Academy. And so I played ball. I studied engineering. The school did not have a good engineering program, so I didn't enjoy it at all. It was very frustrating. And then the experience as on that team that I was on was really bad. And so I got a really bad taste in my mouth for that school, and I wanted out, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I wasn't sure about the Naval Academy anymore, because coming in as a sophomore, it felt like it lost its luster a little bit. And I was still considering it, but I decided to go to the Disney program. So I did the Disney program, which was amazing. And I worked in Epcot, and I was trying to line things up to get myself ready to like reapply or do whatever the process was to get back into the Naval Academy. And then September 11 happened. And then I got really scared, and I was afraid to join the academy because now it was real. Now the pending threat of doing what you do as a pilot is very real. And so that was like the first time that I really had a self-check where I was like, you're a coward. You can't do it because you're not strong enough. You're not brave enough. And I backed out of the idea of the Naval Academy, and I transferred into St. Bonaventure University, which I loved. I loved it there, but it was hard to make that realization of like, you just chickened out. You thought you were tough. You just chickened out in a big and important way. And so, I had that, like, I was coming into a new school with that feeling and the feeling that everybody else in America had about what is happening to our country. And so I decided to go in for my parents really told me, like, go for finance. Finance is great. For a female, you'll have a leg up. There aren't that many women in finance, and you'll have an opportunity that others don't have. And I wasn't going to play ball. I didn't want to play ball. It was like, now I had extra credit hours I had to make up for because I changed majors, and it was very tough. 23 credit hours of finance was really hard coming into a new school, not knowing a lot of people. And then the coach for the softball team found out that I was there, and he recruited me to play for him too. And I just felt like I needed a team. Like I needed, I was feeling like a bit of a loser. And I felt like I needed something to make me feel like me again. And so I did say yes to getting on their team. And shortly after that, I moved off campus with a group of some of my best friends, and our house burned down. And it burned down in the middle of the winter, and almost all of us were inside. 6 out of 7 of us were inside. And it was, one of the girls was temporarily trapped in her room too. It was a really scary, really, really scary time. Everything was kind of let go. I didn't have a place to stay. My parents were getting divorced at that time. We had a missing persons report out on one of my close family members. And I had been diagnosed with something. Well, I had some kind of a disorder or like an illness, and they didn't know what it was. So it was an undiagnosed thing. And I was struggling with that for about a year in college. And this was all kind of happening at the same time. And so while the country was going through it, kind of like what we're going through now, like in a way, when the country was going through that fear and I don't know, uncertainty. And then I was going through on a personal level, so much uncertainty. Like, what am I even doing? I don't even like finance. I was told to do this, and my family's falling apart, and my health is falling apart, and my home has just burnt down. Like I felt like I had nothing. And the school was amazing. They put us up in free housing for the rest of the semester until we could figure it out. But I mean, it was a very shaky. It was like a time in my life where so many people discover themselves in college, but I got like a bat across the face. Like, who are you in college? What do you say you are, and what are you actually? And it was like all these self-check points just kept hitting me hard. It was like the gauntlet of what are you doing with this life? And I ended up graduating and going into commercial real estate because somebody told me to get a job where they were whatever. And I just did it. And there's no passion behind it, but I learned a ton. And it's when I started coaching. It's when I started coaching other industries and other business owners, because I was in real estate, and all of these people have a different industry that they're in, and a different type of company that they're running. And it would be to my best interest and to theirs to help them grow that so that they can stay with us as a company and grow in tenancy and buy bigger real estate and do better. So everybody does better. So there was just kind of like an implied part of my job to coach them through that, to analyze the books, to look at what they're doing, to look at their marketing and sales approach, to analyze and assess their staff and their logistics and make recommendations. So I've been doing this for years, and that's offline. I hid from social media. I didn't go on anything. Like, you can't catch me on a live before 2019 in January. So I just did this offline because I didn't want to be online. I didn't want to at all. I like hated the idea of like the stigma attached to social. Like, if you're on social, you are attention seeking, you are obsessed with yourself, you are fake, you are dramatic, you're looking to cause trouble or to, these are all the wrong impressions that I had, but that's what it felt like to me. And so I didn't want to attach my persona to any of that behavior. And it wasn't until about January 2018 that I was challenged by somebody, and they were like, what are you doing? Like, you have so much to help, and you're just like sitting back there, like on your high horse, like, I don't do social media. And I was like, but I don't. And they're like, yeah, but like, look at how you're missing out on all this stuff. And you're like, all these people that need help. And all I saw up until then, all I saw was drama on social, busyness, comparison, fake. Like, I didn't want to be a part of it. And this person highlighted all of the beauty in the connections and the relationships and the people that were seeking help and healing online. And I didn't see it until then. And so once I did step into that space, I was like, oh, there's a family here. Oh, there's people that I love here. And it's so weird to build connections online. It feels super creepy because we're 90s people, and like, it's like, you're not allowed to be in a chat room. Get out of there. But like, now it's so nice because I feel like I've already met everybody that I work with, everybody. And some of them live like all over the world. So I guess that's kind of the journey. But I mean, as far as if you're asking about like how I just kind of gave you a global, but like if you're asking about how I came into the Tony Robbins network, is that what you were kind of alluding to?
This whole story is amazing. And first of all, for someone who never did social before, the way that you come off as authentic, knowledgeable in your private group, and whenever I see you post, it's inspirational, and it's actually giving people something that they can actually implement in their life and their business and move forward. And before we go on for how you became a speaker and really just a kick-ass coach, I just want to reflect on what you just said, because every time I talk to you, I get a little bit more of your story, and I'm blown away right now because I'm looking at your journey where you wanted to be in the Naval Academy. That didn't happen. Fast forward a little bit, your home burns down. Fast forward a little bit, you have someone in your family that has a missing persons report out. You get diagnosed with a disease, and yet you just continue to move forward. Mm-hmm. And I just want to just tip my hat before you go on, because that's utterly amazing. Because you had every reason in the world just to sit down and stop moving forward. But you pressed on your journey, and it brought you to where you are now, which is just an utterly amazing place. You inspire me, and I'm sure you inspire so many others. So
thank you.
Yeah, talk to us about how this all came to life.
Well, I mentioned January 2019 being the month that I was like, fine, I'll go on social media. We'll see. I'll prove you all wrong. It's terrible. And then it wasn't. So, so I stayed. But I had been to Business Mastery with Tony Robbins. And so I was, like on the email list, right? And then they did this big announcement about the Knowledge Broker Blueprint. And I was like, this is interesting. And then they start telling you like how many people are going to be there. And I was like, over 200,000 people are what is this? And so I was already committed at that point. I'm like, now I'm just curious. I got to see. But everything that Tony puts out, I'm a big fan of. And so I jumped onto the webinar, and within about 30 minutes, I'm like, get me the link. Just give me the link. Stop messing around. I got to get off this phone. I got 4 kids that are dragging at me. Like, I need to give me the stuff. So it was very clear to me that I needed to be a part of this program. And I didn't really know why. I understood what they were talking about, and I knew that made sense for me, but I didn't know what that looked like for my life. And so I did get into the program. I went through the program. It's brilliant, of course. They spent millions producing it. And then, they kind of, it enhanced everything that I was already doing. It enhanced everything with my weight loss clinic, with my coaching style, with the communication, with how I spoke to people online. It was so impressive, and it was so helpful. And it propelled me so much further, so much faster. And so by the time it was like maybe late late summer, early fall, they had an opportunity for speakers to come in, and they said basically like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, we can't get to every stage, and we want to promote this and like talk to people all over the world about it, but we just can't make it. We're 2 people, so we need a small team of speakers. And I was chosen along with 3 other people to go and to speak on their behalf on stages and sell their program from stage, but also inspire and educate about what it is. So that happened, and that was kind of like I say that happened like, oh, that just happened. But what really, like let's pull Sandra back and like get real for a second. I was like, oh my God. This is, I can't believe it was so unreal for me. It was like an out of body experience to get these emails that were like, you made it. Come to Arizona, come meet. And I was like, come meet who, what? I'm going where? What? Oh gosh. Like expenses paid to go see that. You're picking me. How? It was unbelievable to me, because it's just like, I was supposed to just listen to stuff like that from people like that. I wasn't supposed to be a part of it. So like my story started to change, and I'm like, wait, so if this is possible, what else is possible? You start just like thinking bigger. And of course, you know, Tony and Dean both talk about proximity. When you're around people that just expect things to get better, and they just expect things to be opportunistic or to work out, or to know that there's always going to be a way to figure something out, you start to adopt that behavior, that mindset. And then you just stop thinking about the negative stuff so much. You stop focusing on what could go wrong at all. And you just start going, all right, let's think about all the ways it could go right, and let's work for that. And that alone was like, it was such a propulsion for me. And so when I got into that network, they were like, hey, can you coach these workshops? Like we're doing a brand new workshop. We're going to help people implement this stuff that we're teaching in this program. You're a coach. You want to do this workshop? I'm like, yes, I do. So I got to meet all these people and help them implement their businesses in 2 days, in full days, but like 2 days in a workshop from zero to launch. And it was amazing. And so they kept calling me back. And so that's what I do now. I do that as a part of what I do. And it's organic to me anyway. I know the program. I am a coach. Easy. It's like such a good fit. So that has allowed me to meet some of my best friends in the whole world, these other coaches, and one of the other speakers on the team that I'm just so close with now. They're like they're like siblings, not even like extended family, cousins, like they're like siblings, and I love them dearly. And so now I'm looking at my life going, do you hang out with anybody that's not online? No, I don't. I just do chat rooms now. Leave me alone, Mom. So it's been awesome, and it's been life-changing. And it really all started with me saying, fine, I'll go live in January.
I mean, you could tell me that story 20 times and I will never get tired of it. That's utterly amazing. And what I want to kind of roll into now, it really just pivots off of what you just said. Where it all started with you just saying, yeah, I'm going to go live. So yeah. You've overcome just some incredible barriers. Things didn't work out, but you worked out. You kept going, you kept moving forward. And now you are just this kick-ass coach. You're getting on stage and you're speaking. You're on social and you're connecting. And what a great time to be a coach right now, because as everyone is sitting in quarantine, if you're not on a camera, if you're not on video, you're essentially nowhere. Nobody can see you. Nobody can hear you. And yeah, so don't ever get offline, please. Do the world a favor. So
it's been really fun.
So what I want to do is talk about 3 areas, and to get your perspective. The podcast is all about mind, body, business. And for me, I feel in my life, and to be successful, those 3 things need to come together. You have to have a very strong mindset. You need to have the body, as Tony says, what's the purpose of being rich and your body's falling apart? You need to have health and vitality. And your business, it's something that you need to master the skill set of. Tony always says that, there's a science to achievement. So you need to follow the science, which to me, it's a mindset first and then a skill set. So as you've overcome so many things and really have just climbed this mountain to now you're just, and I feel like you're even just getting started, even as high on that mountain as you are, I feel like there's so much ahead of you. I would love to hear in just a snippet, because I know there's so much to it, but your mindset as you're going through all these challenges in your life. What are you saying to yourself? How are you talking to yourself? And how did your mindset shift for you to be able to make a breakthrough?
That is such an awesome question that I don't think anyone's asked me before. Like, what was going through your mind during these obstacles? That's cool. So important right now. I'm so glad you asked that. So when you talk about like the big hurdles, like there was, and oh, by the way, in and among that time too, like my parents got right before the divorce hit too, like my parents got into this massive motorcycle accident and they had so much road rash. They were stuck in the hospital. I didn't know where they were. Like, they came home looking like mummies, bleeding through bandages, like a completely miracle that they were even alive. Like whenever any of those trauma situations happened, it was, you kind of go into, well, I did. I went into kind of like just emergency mode, like triage mode, like what's needed immediately. Like, let's get logic involved and what has to happen right now. And so I don't think that I was stuffing emotions and like trying to like avoid feeling anything, but there's a certain amount of like, you have a job to do. Like, you have to do something now. So you do it. And that I do believe that part of that is athletic training. I think that the sports element that I've had since I was about 6 and competing on the level that I did, you're just conditioned to go, and you're conditioned to assume a loss. You're going to lose. Like, you're going to lose. Like, in no way do you ever consider quitting when you lose. Like, it's just not even part of the process. So you assume to lose and you keep going and you always correct what didn't work before. So I think and that's a subconscious thing. Like, it's not like I was actively thinking about that at any of those times during like painful events, but I think that where my mind went was, what can I do right now though? Like, is there something I can do? Like, who needs me? How can I get out of this? Like, what's the next step? And through that part, like, I typically take the next step, whatever that next step was. And as I'm doing that, like, I definitely reflect though. Like, at the end of the day, I was probably crawling, in the corner, rocking back and forth, crying, but like, there was definitely a lot of emotion. I don't hide emotion, but immediately it's like, what do you have to do next? Like, just because there's always going to be time to unload your emotions, but there's not always as much time as you want to like take action on something when something needs you, like when trauma hits, when an event happens, when somebody is calling for help. So the action first, and then let's work this out emotionally and see what we can do to rebuild and to tell a better story if we're feeling fearful, or like you asked what was going through your mind and like how did you cope with that or whatever. I'll often say, like, I have a lot of limiting beliefs. I know that I do, but every time they come in, I check them and I go, okay, I hear you, I see you, and I look at it. Like, are you a valid fear? What's a better story? Like, is that really true? Is that ultimately true? Is that universal truth? No? Thought not. Okay, so what's a better story? That it's possible, that there's a way that somebody else can teach me, show me, help me, that I could reach out and just ask questions, that I don't have to stay stuck here. That's true. I don't have to. This is a choice. I can move forward. So it's about, for me, it's about the reframe. It's about, is that a real thought? Is that my thought? Is that a thought that needs to stay with me? What's like a better story? Is that ultimately true? What's a better story? I like this story better. I'm going to go with that, because you can think about things all day long. The things that you worry about drain your energy twice as fast as the things that light you on fire. And arguably, the things that light you on fire and make it fun to think about give you energy. So like the opposite is just like, you're either going way down or going way up. Like, it's just a matter of what you decide to focus on and choose to believe. And I don't think that's just mindless positive thinking. I think it's intentional focus that allows your body to get on board with, what your brain knows is possible.
You just drop the mic right now.
I need one. Give me a mic.
That's utterly amazing. And it's interesting how, you went into a little bit about, I was an athlete. And for anyone out there who's listening to this and doesn't know what a Division I athlete is in college, that essentially means you are in the best of the best. You don't just become a Division I athlete. That's something that you need to have just an incredible work ethic. I think there's everyone thinks that things just happen because you are born with all of these gifts, but we know that's not the case, because I know some of the most talented people out there who don't even put in the work and they never get anywhere. So I think that's just a testament to your work ethic and what you do. You just go all in. You go all in on your business. You went all in on sports, and you go all in on you, which that's incredibly inspiring. Now, as you have, I mean, your mindset, that's killer. Everyone listening to this, go rewind that and listen to it again. Like you said, it's a choice. It's what you choose to focus on, and telling yourself a better story. And you just have an incredible amount of energy. What would you say? Obviously, you take diet, nutrition, fitness very seriously. Would you say that plays a big part in kind of your vitality and how you show up?
Absolutely. So I was overweight in college as a Division I athlete, and I couldn't fix it. I had a hormone imbalance that I didn't know about yet, aside from the undiagnosed illness. Like, let's keep it going. So I didn't know that until later on, like much later on, like 4 kids later on, and fixing the hormonal balance nutritionally, just like raw foods, nutritionally with like proper vitamins was everything. I was like, oh, is this how humans operate? Like with energy and focus? Is this what it's capable for us as people? Okay. So with me now, like now that I've shed that weight and felt like vitality, oh, this is what this feels like. I feel like I probably haven't felt like that since maybe pre 10 years old, like when everything's just like, you can eat whatever you want, everything's great and everything's fun. But now it's like, if I fast, I intermittent fast. So I never eat breakfast because it doesn't make me feel good. Once I started fasting, I was like, oh, focus, oh, energy. I thought it would be the opposite. And I have low blood pressure and low blood sugar. So I was scared to fast for sure. But I underestimated water. Like water. I mean, water's so lame. It's like air. What's it going to do? Okay, talk to me about breathing then. Like, what can proper breathing do for you? So the water, honestly, water and breath, like as crazy and free as that is, those two things are probably the biggest elements that help me stay on track. Because when I don't even, like if I'm not drinking 100 ounces plus of water a day, I feel achy. I feel draggy. I feel like there's sludge in my veins. I can't focus as well. I know that. Digestion's off, like all of it's off. When I have 30 ounces of water in the morning before I like hit the road, that is, I guess, hit the road these days, like before I move to the living room, is is the difference between feeling like I just got a jolt of caffeine and feeling like, the water element. I don't drink coffee. So the water element alone gives me so much energy and focus. And if I don't have it, I'm more tired. I'm not thirsty. Like your body just conditions itself. You just came off a fast anyway because I was sleeping. So there's no water. So you either feed it or don't, and your body will get used to either. So if I hit myself with 30 ounces first thing in the morning, I have energy, I have focus, digestion's kicked in, and my body's now thirsty for more. So I drink the proper amount of water throughout the rest of the day. And focusing on my breath is like, sometimes I take a deep breath and I'm like, whew, it's been probably like 12 hours since I did that. I should probably do more of that. So you take a deep breath and you're like, wow, that feels good. And then you start being intentional about it. And you're like, wow, my energy level is different now. My, the negative thought that I had swirling in the back there, that seems to be gone now. Breath, like just breathing properly and doing even just like 30 seconds of like focused, proper breathing, like hit the bottom of your lungs and clean that out and get a full breath and drink some water. Watch what happens to whatever you were trying to write just now. Like you stuck in a post, you can't figure out what to write. You can't think of the content that you should be putting in your email. Take a breath, like a big one, and pause with it. Take another one, drink some water, watch what happens. Like get your body up and then sit back down, try again. Those things are so small and seemingly insignificant. And they've almost always unlocked the next thing for me. Like you can do this because you just drank water. You can do this because you just had like 60 seconds to just chill out and deep breathe. I'm like, oh, turns out that all the gurus from ancient times were actually right. Okay, I should listen.
It works.
It works. It just works. It's so weird that it works. It seems so basic. It works.
It absolutely does. And I'm a big proponent. I drink probably close to 2 gallons a day. And I start my morning routine with breathing exercises. Yeah. So yeah, it's really a lot of things simple things done well and right. Really, it's all like learn the basics, master the basics, and then you build your foundation from there.
Yes.
So, I mean, incredible stuff that you're giving us. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, the business part, you've decided to just, put your foot down and say, this is the direction I'm going in. What I find is so many people have decided to abandon what their dream is because it didn't seem realistic, and they ended up in this job that they never wanted.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because they thought that job was safe. And especially during this time, we found that it's not necessarily true. And people are starting to rethink, maybe I need to just go after it. When it comes to business, what would you give as a piece of advice for somebody that's thinking about starting their business, thinking about becoming a coach, really just going after their dream?
Yeah, man, corporate's not safe, obviously, right? Like I got fired from corporate and I was the all-star. I was the moneymaker for the whole company and they let me go so they didn't have to pay me a bonus. So like I was hanging on to that degree like a warm blanket and a pacifier. It did nothing for me in the end. So right now I know people are feeling that too, and people are let go, furloughed, just on sabbatical. There's so much unknown going on for them, and a lot of people are taking this time to go, what if I could do something else, what would it be? And I think that you kind of know most times. Sometimes you don't, but I think that you kind of know. You've been thinking about something. Maybe if you're at that point where you're frustrated with your career and you're an employee, you've been thinking like, what could I do to get out of here? And like, what would be better? Like, I think so-and-so is having more fun doing what they do. Like, what would you think about those things and how you can make money? And if you're doing something in corporate that you're good at, but you just don't enjoy the environment, you can take that offline. You can do that on your own for yourself. And I don't necessarily I think we're talking to two different people. We're talking to the people who've been let go, and we're talking to the people that are hanging on but aren't happy, and now they're taking the time to go, I think I might want to get out of here. Like so-and-so got let go, like third of our staff is gone. I don't know if I'm next. Like those people too, that I do believe that you can build, like we say side hustle. I say side hustle often, but I don't mean hustle. I don't mean like break your back, get up and grind. Like I don't subscribe to the idea that you have to make it so hard. It doesn't have to be so hard. It just has to be intentional. Like people talk about the grind all the time, and I'm like, that doesn't sound fun. That doesn't sound fun to me. I'm not signing up for a grind. Sorry, that sounds awful too. But the hustle too is like, that sounds exhausting. You sound exhausted if you're hustling all the time. Like there's so much negative connotation to that. I know that it's possible to work on your business intentionally on the side and start, and not just work on it. Like, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be cool to look like this? Look at my pretty colors and look at my idea. I'm talking about going out there and getting your clients. I'm talking about marketing what you do on the side, talking about it, getting on the phone with people, having the conversations that lead to sales so you can get money in so that you can say, oh, this is actually how, in terms of action, this is how I leave my job. This is how I provide for my family. And this is how I feed my soul, because this is the work that I was meant to do. It doesn't have to be hard. You just have to do it. And I think that now's the time to do it. And I don't think that people have more time. I think people have less time. But I think now, because of that, if you have less time, then you better get ultra intentional. And even if it's for an hour a day, or you get up an extra hour in the morning too, and now you got 2 hours a day, you can make this thing go next month. I know that. I've done that. So if you have less time now and you do that and you get intentional, what can you do when this thing lifts? What can you do when people are normalized with a better schedule and more freedoms? And maybe you're at your job and there aren't like 16 children crawling all over your lap. Maybe you can even focus. Imagine what you could do then. So that's what I think about what's going on right now. And I help people all the time talk through their areas of expertise. And like they sit there and they talk to me about like, well, I don't know what I would do. What do you do now? And what have you done? And they're like, this whole list of like awesome stuff and credentials and experience. I'm like, are you kidding me? Geez, like I wish I had half of that. So like there's always more that you could be doing, but most people get in their own way and just assume that nobody wants it from them. Oh, biggest lie in the world. Biggest lie in the world. So that's what I would say. Like, talk those ideas out. Stop keeping them trapped in your head. Talk them out with somebody. Vet the ideas and then start moving. Don't just think about it. Don't just like write a plan on paper. Like move, like take action, do something. What's the next step? What's an action item that you can do to make that more real tomorrow? And that's really important right now.
Wow. I mean, you just keep dropping the knowledge bombs out there and
Just need more microphones.
on fire over there. I mean, that's incredibly amazing. And so, I have one last question for you, but I also do, you mentioned you are a coach and you're an amazing coach. You have helped so many people really take this idea and just make it happen, bring it to life, get out of their own way. Where can people find you? How can they work with the great Sandra Haseley right now?
Well, I'm now on the socials, everyone. So you can find me on the web. I'm on Facebook as Sandra Haseley and Co. I'm on LinkedIn as Sandra Haseley, and I'm on Instagram as the Sandra Haseley Co. And so I think that there's like 2 other Sandra Hasleys in the world. So they might be older than 60. And so you could probably easily find me if you just looked up my name. But I am on those platforms, and I do have groups. Like I have two very special groups that I have partnered with my best friends, those coaches from Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. And they're 2 different groups, and they have different purposes. And one of them is called the Wonder Women Mastery. And that is just for females. And it's for women who want to focus on health, business, and relationships, and like really get traction, like really traction, and have a community of women who are like intensely cheering them on. Like, it's almost intimidating. It's like, wow, she really wants me to do well. Like, there's no judgment in here. How is this possible? And I'm working with my friends there, and we just that's like such a passion project. But there's so much momentum there, and the women are like, it's unbelievable. And then the other one that I do that I love so much is with 2 of my coach friends, and that's called Generation Impact, and that is strictly business and mindset. And that is a lot of different types of business owners from all over the world that want to get to the next step. And we basically hold their hand all the way through whatever they're going through, give them implementation pieces, and keep them accountable. So those are the 2 things that I love: the Wonder Women Mastery and Generation Impact. And I love holding space for the women, where it's just women only. And only because it's so relatable for the individual problems. Men, I love the men's group too, that they have for each other, where they have this fraternity of men that get what other men are going through, and they feel safe to talk about it, where females aren't listening, being like, what do you mean by that? And then and so the women have this space to feel safe to do all that. And then the Generation Impact is mixed. It's men and women, and they're all over the world, and so they have different purposes, but they really I feel very complete by having those 2 elements in my life.
That's great, and I'm gonna make sure that we have that in the show notes for everyone. They're gonna have links to your socials, because you're on the socials now.
I'm so fancy.
I can't believe you were never on social media before.
Oh dear God, I was terrified.
So, final question for everyone.
Here we go.
And we're years from now, and you are walking into a spaceship. You're never going to come back to Earth again. But before you do that, you have this box. And inside of this box, you can put one piece of knowledge, and you can leave it behind so everyone can become empowered and enlightened from this. So it's your greatest gift to the world. What would you put in there?
Is it a note? Like, I can do calligraphy on it?
It could be a note. It can be it can be a slogan. It can be a few encouraging words. It's whatever you want to leave.
I'm ready. Okay.
All right.
You can do whatever you want. Just do it. Here's what I know. That was it. Okay, now I'm done. Moving on. I just have to explain it. Okay, so I tell people all the time, do whatever the F you want. Just do it. I don't care. You can do whatever you want. I do whatever I want all the time. And I don't ask anybody if I can. I just do it. I stop worrying about the fact that I might have to have somebody's opinion to double check whether my idea is good or not. I just do it. And I can celebrate my own wins, and I can own my own failures, and I'll learn better from both of them. But stop acting like you have to get permission to do what you like. Stop toiling with the idea. Stop asking somebody else if they think it's good. If you like it, if you want to, just do it. Stop sitting there and just do it. This is the perfect time to just do something. Like, everybody's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I haven't had a shower in 3 weeks. Like, I'm wearing the same clothes every day. And so take action on something else. Like, do something else. But everybody's a mess right now. Nobody's going to judge you for failing. This is like, you got the biggest excuse in the world right now. Coronavirus, I don't know what happened. It was coronavirus. It was like, oh, this is during quarantine. I don't know what happened. Like, you just take action. If you need an excuse and you need a fallback, quarantine's your fallback. So just go.
Wow. You can do whatever you want.
There you have it.
I have to thank you again. If you haven't been living your dream, this is your call right now to just go and do it. Sandra, you are, I always talk about mind body business. You are just everything that stands for, where you've built this incredible mindset where you have literally not let a single thing keep you down. You keep driving forward. You've driven through so many things in your life, and your journey now as a speaker and coach, I feel like you're just at the beginning of it, because everyone in this world in a year or two is going to know who you are, and it's utterly amazing. You are a D1 athlete. You know that you need to take care of the body along your journey, and you've just been a just mogul, really a tycoon in this coaching field. And you're not just living it for yourself, you're giving it back to other people so they can go and live their dreams. So thank you very much for not just being on the podcast, but for what you do for everyone, because it's, as you know, it's all about being able to take those gifts that you have and give them back. So
Absolutely.
ladies,
Thank you. Oh, you just filled my bucket for the rest of the week. Thank you so much. It's
ladies
an
and
honor to do it.
gentlemen, there you go. This is something that you need to replay and replay and replay. And Sandra, thank you so much for just every time I have an interaction with you, I just come away so inspired, and I know everyone else will too. So thank you so much. And I will. I'm behind you. I'm making my way up to the top, and I hope everyone that's listening is on their way as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sandra Haseley, thank you so much.
Thank you.